Here's the same exact script rewritten in super simple, casual English, like a friend telling you juicy gossip at school. Every single fact stays the same. Same length, same lines, just way easier to read for an 8th grader. Did you know the one woman who was super important in Princess Diana's life just spilled a huge secret that's gonna shock everybody? Yup, we're talking about Lady Sarah McCorquodale, Diana's big sister. She basically changed Diana's whole future forever. Her real name wasn't just Sarah. She was born Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia Spencer on March 19, 1955, and she was Diana's closest best friend. She was honestly the best thing that ever happened to Diana, but at the same time, Lady Sarah is also the reason Diana's life got totally messed up. And now, at age 60, she finally admitted all those crazy rumors about her little sister were true. What were the rumors? What was her life like? And how did she change Diana's life? We're going to tell you everything in this video. Her life was wild. When her dad became the 8th Earl Spencer in 1975, she got the fancy title, the Honorable, and then everyone started calling her Lady. People think Lady Sarah grew up super rich with everything easy, but that's not true at all. She had to fight through a ton of hard stuff. The worst was her scary eating disorder when she was young. It totally wrecked her social life and was really terrifying. We'll tell you more, but let's start from the beginning. After finishing school at Riddlesworth Hall in West Heath, she moved to London for work. Sounds fancy, but honestly, her life was pretty normal for a rich girl. The only thing that made her famous was being Diana's sister. People who hated Diana always tried to drag Sarah into the drama. The sisters were super close, and Diana's enemies tried to use that against them. Sarah never gave up. She stayed Diana's ride or die, even where, and it meant going against the whole royal family. When Diana's marriage got really bad, Sarah was the only one holding her up and giving her the guts to fight back. Basically, Sarah was Diana's knight in shining armor, and the reason Diana actually beat Charles in that whole mess. Lady Sarah was so important because she kept pushing Diana and made her excited to do all her princess jobs. She gave advice and support whenever Diana needed it most. Sarah stayed 100% loyal, even when the rumors about Diana got insane, and she stayed loyal even after Diana died. Sarah is basically living proof that Diana's legacy is still here, and she's been working super hard to keep everything Diana fought for alive. Someone this important has to have an epic story, right? Oh yeah, buckle up, because you're about to hear how Diana's closest friend was also the reason she ended up dead. Everyone knows Neil McCorquodale is Sarah's husband and the love of her life. But did you know she almost became Queen of England herself? Yup. At 60, Sarah finally told the truth. Before Diana, she was dating Prince Charles. But it didn't work out, and Sarah dumped him so hard it was in the newspapers for months. She literally said she wouldn't marry him if he was the garbage man or the King of England. Even after they broke up, she stayed in Charles's friend group. And in the weirdest twist ever, she ended up introducing her little sister Diana to him. Nobody knew that one introduction would change Diana's life and the royal family forever. Before we get into the biggest mystery in England since Jack the Ripper, you gotta know a few things about Diana so you get the full story. Princess Diana was born July 1st, 1961, and her full name was Diana Frances Spencer. She was the fourth of 5 kids in the Spencer family. She grew up in a huge house called Park House in Sandringham, Norfolk, and that's where she first got close to the royals as a little kid. Her grandma was a lady-in-waiting for the Queen Mother, and Diana used to play with Prince Andrew and Prince Edward when the royals visited. Even though she lived in a fancy house, her childhood sucked. Her parents fought like crazy because her mom couldn't have a boy heir, and everyone blamed her mom. After non-stop fighting, they divorced when Diana was only 7. She stayed with her dad, who later became Earl Spencer, but she hated her stepmom Rain, the new countess. It was basically Cinderella and the evil stepmother vibes. So when did Diana's life really start falling apart? Because of her big sister. Sarah introduced Diana to Prince Charles in 1977. Diana was only 16, and Charles was 12 years older. He totally fell for her. They started dating, and everything went downhill from there. The biggest wedding ever happened in 1981 when Diana married Charles. Suddenly, a normal rich girl was the most famous woman on earth. Was that awesome? Or the start of a nightmare? Keep watching to see. Want to hear something funny? When Charles dumped Sarah, he thought Diana was so sweet and innocent that she'd never hurt him. And even if she wanted to, she couldn't. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Diana thought Charles was her dream guy, her real-life prince who would protect her forever. Pretty ironic, right? If they could time travel, they'd slap their younger selves. Their first meeting was quick, and Diana actually thought Charles looked kinda sad and boring. But inside, they both felt something. Charles was still heartbroken from Sarah dumping him and from his mentor Lord Mountbatten dying. So Diana felt bad for him, and that made him like her more. Their relationship started at a barbecue when, out of nowhere, Charles kissed her. That random kiss started the most famous and messy relationship ever. They barely saw each other because Charles was always busy, but after only 13 dates, he proposed. Diana thought about it on cloud 9 and said yes before she left for a trip to Australia. The engagement was announced in 1981, and the whole world was obsessed with this beautiful young girl marrying a future king. Everyone thought it was a perfect fairy tale, but the problems started super early. In one interview, they were asked if they were in love. Diana said, "Of course," but Charles just said, "Whatever love means." That already hurt Diana and was a big red flag. The huge royal wedding happened on July 29, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral. 750 million people watched on TV. Diana's dress, made by David and Elizabeth Emanuel, had a 25-foot train and crazy pretty lace. It became iconic instantly. The world was in love with this prince and princess love story. While everyone was cheering from balconies, gossip started about how Sarah really felt about her little sister marrying her ex-boyfriend. Sarah said publicly she was happy and even played matchmaker, but some people whispered she was secretly jealous. To protect Diana, Sarah chose to stay out of the spotlight and live a quiet life so her sister could shine. Once Diana became super powerful, she showed the world how much one person could change things. A normal rich girl yesterday was now fixing huge problems using the royal name. That's why we still remember her as an amazing humanitarian. She made giant differences for HIV/AIDS, leprosy, and landmines. When she first got comfortable as a royal, she wanted to end the AIDS stigma. In the 80s, everyone was terrified and mean to people with AIDS. In 1987, Diana shook hands and hugged patients with no gloves. Pictures went everywhere, and suddenly, the world started treating patients like humans again. She became patron of the National AIDS Trust and visited HIV centers all the time. She even met Nelson Mandela in 1997 to talk about helping kids with AIDS. Another thing people still love her for is her work with landmines. In 1997, she walked through a real minefield in Angola, wearing protective stuff to show how dangerous they were. Her trip helped get the Ottawa Treaty signed that banned those mines. She also fought leprosy stigma, She became patron of the Leprosy Mission in 1989 and hugged patients all over the world so people would stop being scared of them. Whenever Diana felt like giving up, Sarah pushed her and reminded her she could change the world. So Diana kept going. She even started helping cancer research and became president of Royal Marsden Hospital, especially for kids with cancer. Someone this kind and hard-working should have had a happy life, right? The world should have been good to her too. But then Charles dropped the biggest bomb. Everyone found out he was cheating with Camilla Parker Bowles. No matter how hard they hid it, it became an open secret. Diana was crushed and cried to Sarah. Sarah helped her get strong again and get ready for the biggest fight of her life. Hang on, because here's where it all falls apart. In 1993, a secret phone call from 1989 between Charles and Camilla leaked. Everyone heard Charles say super embarrassing stuff, like he wanted to live inside her trousers. People started calling it Tampon Gate. It was so gross and ruined Charles's image. In 1994, Charles finally admitted on TV that he cheated once the marriage was already broken, and everyone knew he meant Camilla. Then, in 1995, Diana gave the most famous interview ever and said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Boom! She wasn't scared anymore. The public went crazy, supporting Diana only. She was still the kind, graceful princess everyone loved. Things got so bad the Queen made them separate in 1992 and divorce in 1996. Diana lost her Royal Highness title but said she finally had peace. She focused on raising William and Harry and co-parenting with Charles. Just when she thought she was free and could finally live her own life, the worst thing happened. She went on a vacation cruise with a friend, met the friend's son, Dodi Fayed, and they fell in love super fast. But on August 31st, 1997, everything ended. They were in Paris. Paparazzi were chasing their car like crazy. The driver, Henry Paul, lost control in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, and the car crashed into a pillar. Dodi and the driver died right away. Diana was badly hurt and died the next morning at 6 a.m. The whole world was heartbroken. Charles, Sarah, and Sister Jane flew to Paris to bring her body home. At the funeral, Sarah gave a speech that made everyone cry buckets. So many people are still mad that we never got real answers about that night, like why the only survivor, Dodi's bodyguard, says he has amnesia and remembers nothing, or why the driver was drunk. All those mysteries just make people talk about it even more. So, what really happened that night